But going into university, I kind of thought, I want more of the hands-on stuff. I didn't want to do another 3 years of sitting down. And so I pitched this, and I just had this one director guy who I had never met before. He was just like, I'm not sure quite what you're on about with it was just the questions that he was asking me. I was just like, I've got 5 minutes. So if you show up and you're like, I want to make a film on this. Oh yeah, how does it relate to modern audiences? Shut the f*** up. It's just, they're just being like, okay, well, no one's going to go and see it then.
Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Horizon podcast, the podcast where you expand your horizons of knowledge. Today with me, oh my goodness, I forgot your surname. What?
Yeah.
What? Today with me, Aiden, what? Yeah? Okay, I'm saying it correctly, all good?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Who's a second year university student in production.
Yes.
In filmmaking.
Yeah.
What am I? Okay, let's do that whole intro again. Oh my goodness.
I can't help but laugh.
No, shut the up, man. Good, thank you. Thank you for your intro, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you could light up the candle. Do you got it?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Aiden. I got a couple of questions on film production because it is quite it's a very different field, I would say, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, not the typical degree that you go for.
Yeah, no, not. How did you come about it? Like, what was the process?
So a bit of a long-winded answer, but when I was doing GCSEs, I decided to pick media studies, purely just out of curiosity. So media would have film in it, also had stuff like magazines, TV series, posters, all kind of stuff. And I really liked the film aspect about that. I think it was partly the teacher that I had at the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, then deciding what to choose for A-levels, I naturally thought, okay, well, why don't I try out film studies? And I did that, and I really, really liked it. One of the parts of the coursework, which was about 30 to 40% of the grade, was making a film yourself. So applying all of the theoretical stuff that you had built up and putting in a film in which you had complete control over everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, you script wrote, you did, all of the camera stuff, sound stuff, and then you did post as well. And I really, really enjoyed it. I just thought it was really fun. I really liked learning about the sort of film studies part of it, the theoretical side. But going into university, I kind of thought, I want more of the hands-on stuff. I didn't want to do another 3 years of sitting down
Just theorizing
over films, doing sort of film critiques, analysing them. I find that stuff fun, but to a certain extent. And I was sort of just thinking, at the end of uni, I want a job. I want something where I can actually, hence going to uni, right? I want something where I can say, I could actually find work doing that. And I knew that if I was to do film studies, maybe I'm sure there are stuff out there, but I wanted something hands-on. I wanted to actually make films. So that's why I decided to go for that.
I gotta say that was the first thing that struck me about you. That I thought because in my worldview, art, anybody who studies art is a little bit wishy-wash and not very has ADHD in a very in a very simplified way. It has ADHD and I don't know, doesn't like the structure as a general thing. But what something that really struck me about you is that you look like a very pragmatic, structured guy. I can tell, you make your bed in the morning. I just can tell for sure. Do you? Yeah, of course.
Most mornings.
Of course you do, man.
Most mornings. My room's pretty messy now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's alright. Happens to everyone.
Yeah, it does happen. But yeah, like there's a lot of
But yeah, I do make
stereotypes around art students.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are kind of harsh, especially when you look at what most people do day to day. I think art is a lot more involved, you know, in terms of you're going to watch a film at the end of the day. Throughout the day, you're going to listen to music, you know, other stuff. Whenever people go out for like hobbies, a lot of it is sort of art based. I think a lot of people kind of have a bit of, I think it's a little bit snobby, kind of like, oh, art, whatever, push that to the side. And then they find that lots of their life actually does revolve around it. So I think it kind of gets a bit of an unfair bad rap to start off with.
I do think so.
But I do understand, like when I walk around on campus, talking to people, meeting people, seeing what kind of people are there, I do get it. I do get it. And there's a lot of people who I've talked to where I'm like, okay, cool, you're doing X art degree, what do you want to do when you leave? And they have zero clue. And like I'm kind of just doing it, not for the sake of doing it, but you see what I mean, right?
Yeah, I gotta say,
yeah,
I tend to dislike people who don't take what they do seriously.
Completely fair.
As in,
you're here, you're paying all this money.
You're here paying a lot of money because
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I used to study in Germany. There the education is free, but you're still wasting time.
Yeah.
You're wasting resources. It doesn't matter what it is, but if you have no point of direction at all, what is the point of you doing that? And what's the difference between you doing that or I don't know, you having 5 children? Like if literally you don't know what is going to happen next, it just I don't know. It's like there's no.
I mean, yeah.
Sense of direction at all.
I completely understand people not knowing what they want to do. When I talked to my dad, he said that he doesn't know what to do. He still doesn't to this day. He just kind of says you have to pick something. Just pick something that you're at least relatively interested in. Have a look to see what it entails. If you like the look of it, do more research. Do it at A levels. Go to some talks about it. And then, pick it for the degree. And that's what I did. And I looked at a lot of different places. And I liked the course on that Yui gives for filmmaking. Just because, like, lots of them were pretty similar, to be fair. Yeah. But for what I want to do, Bristol as a city and the course that they were offering, I thought it was one of the best. Yeah.
I gotta say, it's not that I dislike people without direction. It's mostly people who don't take it serious what they do.
I get you.
And that's what happens a lot with art, because you can go a lot more towards doing not your best work and putting it as an intentional thing.
Okay.
So something that you cannot do in accounting, for example.
Yeah.
Like in accounting, if you up,
You're wrong, yeah.
you like it will show. Like there's nothing that you can do.
Art is a lot more sort of subjective with explanations,
exactly,
movements, that kind of thing.
Like you can pull an explanation out of your ass and like you'll be okay.
Yeah, you can. I would still have to argue it's still very much what you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Obviously, but like, yeah, I get you.
So, and also having 2 siblings that dedicate their life towards art is I can see when somebody is actually putting it seriously. Like I don't know, one of my siblings, the only thing that he did for 7 years straight was tattooing. That's the only thing that he did.
Okay. Yeah.
Just drawing, tattooing. That's it. 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Like every fucking day, basically. And then he went on vacations and then blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, but like that focus. That's what I
Yeah.
genuinely like in people.
You admire, yeah.
Well, I do see that a lot with you. I gotta say.
Well, thank you. You know, I just like. There's no way I would come to uni and like not want to work hard. You know, it's just sort of.
How come?
I would get completely frustrated and I would get really upset if I didn't like actually put my mind to stuff. Like, yeah, sure, there'll be periods where I slack off, you know, just like anyone. But when it actually comes down to it, and deadlines are a couple months away for one of the modules, I will work very hard and I will like submit everything that I need to submit. I go to all the lectures, all of the workshops, even including the ones that you don't need to do because you know that's not your role for that specific module. I go to that if I have time. I just, you know, you're paying all this money. I want to get out of it as much as I can, and so you know, showing up is sort of the least you can do. Um, and yeah, you know, I want to make some cool stuff, make some good films, and so, you know, it's just how it is.
Mm.
Yes.
You have like I don't know your artistic side, but you're very balanced you're very directional for sure in the thing of putting your mind to something, and then you just go, go.
Yeah.
Well, so tell me a little bit about like your perspective towards what you do and so on, because I want to know what you actually do.
So the best way I can describe this is kind of how the uni issues all the work.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have multiple modules, right? Okay, there'll be one based on industry, where they'll say, "Here's a Word document. You need to fill out this Word document of stuff that you've done outside of not like kind of like outside of uni. All the talks that you've been to. They'll host loads of talks. Like I said, it's kind of what you put in is what you get out. If you don't
Okay.
show up to those talks, you just have no clue. The reason why I can talk and I can, you know, sit and talk about what we talked about earlier, where work will stagnate, you know, that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
is just what I've heard generally from lots of other filmmakers and people in the creative industries.
Just because you showed up to
Because
the
you
talks.
showed up to talks, you show up to lectures, you hear what other people have to say, you know, you kind of be a bit proactive, meet up with people. So that's kind of like one of the modules. And it's also, that one is a lot more personal. So you kind of like make stuff yourself. So they also say one of the things is that you pick a specialism, which can be sound, camera, directing, producing. I decided to pick camera because I thought, you know, that could be good, and I kind of want to get into camera a bit more. It's the sort of one thing where I feel like I could learn a lot compared to what I saw from the other ones. And so they say, hey, you've got a few months, make sure you have like sort of 10 setups of drama lighting or documentary lighting and slash your experimental stuff that you're messing around with. So that's one of them. Another one of them is sort
Just
of,
mess around with these particular things.
yeah, well that's
Okay.
they kind of just, you know, it can be with stuff like physical film. So for the example that my tutor gave, is he said this is expired film, which is actually really interesting because a lot of it will give you like a really funky look once you get it sort of processed. So a lot of it has like lots of grain, it kind of looks greenish. If you don't sort of take off, I forgot what they're called. There's a thing on the back of film strips
Mm-hmm.
that often appears that you're supposed to kind of like scratch off.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you kind of get these weird like lightning bolt looking things that are ingrained into your film. I think they
Okay.
look pretty sick, but obviously when you're seeing that, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, get it off my screen. So I think it's just a bit of like a film nerd kind of thing, but that's one of the example of like stuff that you can do to sort of mess around with experimenting and that kind of thing.
For being a filmmaker, you've been hitting that microphone like too much, man.
Yeah, well,
Mate, you can move it if you like. You
nah,
can.
it's fine. Like even just when I'm doing hand movements.
Are you sure? Like
yeah.
you can elevate it a little
Nah,
bit.
it's all good. It's okay.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah. But yeah, like the main part of it is kind of them saying, so for this module, we want you to make an 8-minute short film,
Mm-hmm.
dramatic short film, narrative. You need, before you show up for the very first lecture, you need to pitch something. You don't have to. as long as there's like 10 to 15 pictures, that's fine. That ended up being something like 18, 19. And so I was kind of going in, I was like, well, I don't really have any sort of like burning ideas. I'll have a think. Ended up coming up with a pitching that. Didn't go through, fair enough. They gave me feedback on that anyways. And so it was kind of a thing where I was like, I want, like, this will be helpful for me to do, even if I don't really want to do it. It's like, I can't really say I overly love speaking in front of like 30 to 40 people about a film pitch that I have. But, you know, if you get
and that's harsh when you pitch an idea that you had.
Yeah, like completely yourself.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
So
when they say something against it, you're like, oh, you little
I know, it's actually pretty funny. They had like 5 industry members at the front as well.
Yeah.
So you had like a director, like a DOP. You had all of the tutors which have been in the industry for like 20 plus years.
Okay, so there are actually
They can look at your picture and they can go, okay, this is shit. We're not going to make this. Or they can go, okay, I see what you're saying about that. And so I pitched this, and they were kind of, you know, I got to the questions. Oh, and I just had this one like director guy who I had never met before. And like, to be fair, it wasn't just me. He asked other people really annoying questions. He was just like, I'm not sure quite what you're on about with like, you know, like these pagan versus Christian themes and how you're really going to get that into actualization.
Whoa. Pagan versus Christian?
No, that's simplifying it.
Okay.
The film that I had was like, so I go to the Lake District a few times a year. I have family in the Lake District.
All right.
And it was going to be about the story of like a couple murders that happened in one of the lakes where they would dump the bodies inside these lakes. And then they find them like 10, 20 years later, which happened in 2 lakes right next to each other around similar kind of times. And then they find the bodies perfectly preserved because it's freezing over there. And then the guys get arrested afterwards, after like 20 years of living a normal life after that. And there's a lot in the Lake District. There's a lot of in that particular area where my grandparents are. There's a lot of kind of like old Viking sites, that kind of thing. Viking, who have like very recently turned into Christian.
Okay.
So you can kind of see there'll be like a cross, like a huge stone cross that will have like Loki on it and that kind of thing. And so that's what I was kind of like going to incorporate it into the story, because I was like, oh, it's quite cool. And it's a bit of like a folklore horror story anyway, so I might as well. Yeah. And he did not like...
He didn't like it?
He didn't like the idea. He was just confused, like, how do you know these sites? You know, what are they? How are they going to be ingrained in the story? It was just the questions that he was asking me. I was just like, you know, I've got 5 minutes. You know, you've got 5 minutes to go out there and try and convince people of, you know, that you want to make this film. Yeah. That you want to get your butt all the way over to the Lake District, have like a week straight of super early risers, filmmaking. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. 5 minutes, I'm not going to sit there nitpicking about the particular sites, that kind of thing. So I thought it was a bit harsh, but yeah, it was well.
I mean, but it's exactly what you need, you know?
It was, exactly what you need. They gave me some good feedback. I was a bit salty about it.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be saucy.
Yeah. But, you know, even if, like, because, like, before going in, I was kind of like, I probably haven't put as much work into this pitch as I should have. I was one of the first people to submit it, but it was still, like, whatever, I'm just going to do it anyways. It's just one of those things that's good for me to do. So, yeah.
I mean, that's something, so when I do an interview, like the better I prepare it, and there's something really crazy, like the better I prepare it, the more views it has.
Right. Okay.
Which is weird. Which is very, very weird.
The better you prepare the interview, the more
view it has. Yeah. Because the better the questions, it
makes sense. It's just, you know.
And there's an aura towards it when you're like coming a little bit like nervous towards an interview, and I'm guessing towards a movie or like to your presentation, you'll be like, ooh, I don't know exactly the details. And those details are the ones that give you the confidence that when somebody asks you something, you can say,
You can confidently say,
you can
'Cause that-
basically
yeah.
slap them in the face.
Yeah, 'cause, once I had that 5 minute pitch, because it was originally going to be about this. It was like two middle-aged couples at the time. It was during like the 60s to 70s, that kind of time era. So actually not that old when you really take things into consideration, but
but it's different.
yeah. And
Different
I
clothing.
remember saying at the end, I was like, "This is a lot to cover in just an 8 minute film." So I would be completely open to making it just focused on one of the couples. And then one of the parts of the feedback that I got straight after was, "Oh yeah, no, I think that's too much. You would need to make it about one of the couples." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I just did say that. Like, I'm completely open to changing the script." And they were just like, "No, but, it's just, it was yeah, it was fine. It was just a bit frustrating." As
You
can
look,
probably
you look.
I remember at the time I was just like,
frustrated
"Come on,
as
man,
fuck.
no way." Because you're sitting there in front of 30 or 40 people with these like industry members that start asking, like basically start like proper attacking your pitch.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, come on now, but it's a good learning experience though.
I think this is something that I've learned, mainly because I do business. That's my
It's
thing.
your thing.
And when I tell something like when I have a conversation over the phone asking for advice to somebody who's, I wouldn't say an industry expert, but has like a lot more experience. When I ask them, they rinse me every fucking time.
Yeah.
Like there is like it's just so crazy. I'm always so impressed on how terrible it is. It's just like, okay, I'm going to like, and I have to prepare myself now because the first time I called, oh my god, it was horrible because I wasn't even prepared for it. I thought it was an incredible idea. And then
you kind of.
First question, no idea. Second question, no. Third, no idea. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And they ask you like the fundamentals, really. So the fundamentals on accounting, the fundamentals on marketing, fundamentals of sales processes, and all these things that come towards it. That I'm sure they asked you something similar, which is a fundamental of business, which would be the fundamentals of filmmaking. Yeah. And they rinse you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Because you have no clue. It's the first pitch.
I mean, like the whole time they're sitting there with their notes out.
Yeah.
So, how are you going to go up there, all the way up there? It's difficult terrain up there. Have you ever filmed there before? It's like... And I thought that I answered... They asked me 3 or 4 questions. I can't remember exactly what some of them were. I thought I answered like a good 2 or 3 pretty damn well. I was like, hey... I just made this documentary. It's half an hour from that exact location.
All right.
I've been there before. I know the area very well. There's a youth hostel right on this lake that we could go to, and we could, then it's super easy access. We wouldn't have to bother about, having some fucking waiting half an hour for a tractor to go past, that kind of thing. But yeah, and then I don't know.
So what do you reckon are like, so for somebody who doesn't know anything about filmmaking, what are the cornerstones? So I'm going to say it for business. For business, the cornerstones are sales and sales processes, marketing, accounting, overall business structure, and then product.
Okay.
So if you have those, you kind of know where you're at.
Right. Okay.
So, and that's every time I make a pitch, I get rinsed on all those 5. Right,
okay.
And there's of course other things, but yeah.
I mean, the best way I can describe it is, for filmmaking, you have 3 stages of production. So you got pre-production, all of the planning, the logistics. Who are you going to get on your crew? Who are the cast members? How are you going to get your actors there? What kind of costumes are you using? All this stuff all gets done.
That's called what?
Pre-production.
Pre-production.
So, and then when you're filming, which will be a very, like, if you have a timeline, the actual part where you're filming is like super, super small.
I know that.
Incredibly small.
I know.
Yeah.
I did modeling for a while,
Oh, seriously?
and I just remember it was like so quick, like the
Yeah.
the
yeah.
actual experience.
Because when you actually get there, they have everything super tight knit.
Everything.
You're going to be here at this time because we need
Yeah.
to be then over here at that time.
In modeling, you pay fines if you don't show on time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's pretty sick.
At least the agency that I worked for.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so you have pre-production, which goes on for a good while. The actual production, which is filming, which is like barely anything. So for the 8 minutes that we did recently, we had 4 shooting days, and it's generally around like going into specifics, generally around like 4 shots per hour, depending on the setup. That can change, and then you've got like you can do around 1 or 2 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a script, only 1 or 2 pages per whole day, which sounds like, oh, you could do more. Trust me, you can't.
No.
There's a lot more that goes into it, unless you're gonna do some kind of like guerrilla filmmaking kind of approach to it.
Well, this is where influences come about. I know this
Right.
because I did my research towards Paramount.
Okay.
And influencers, when they're asked to like participate in a movie,
Mm-hmm.
they're so frustrated on how many times it takes for people to get the perfect angle.
Oh yeah. Oh no, genuinely.
Like
Yeah. So the influencers being actors.
influencers are actors all the time, and
But like properly, like actual actors, like 80% of the time, if you've got an actor on your shoot, they will just be waiting around most of the time. That is the reality. If you're going into
it's just
acting,
crazy.
be prepared to wait
Wait.
for hours. I mean, I've
Get it-
seen
Get like a crochet or something.
yeah, like there are full feature films where there could be lots of stuff to do with like cosmetics. Like it could be a sci-fi film, and you'll have to sit in a chair for 10 hours just doing makeup, and then go on to shoot. Like
Which is
it's
amazing.
not super like fast-paced, fun kind of stuff. You'll be sitting there waiting for hours and hours whilst the whole crew is super stressed out, sorting stuff out. Yeah, that's just the reality of it. But obviously, then when you see yourself on the big screen, it's like all of the center of attention is now kind of back on you. So the whole time you're kind of waiting around. Screw this filming gig. It's just I'm not doing anything. But then you get there and it's like, oh, okay.
The
You
5
actually see
seconds.
yourself and you see yourself on the screen and you're like, wow, okay, that's really cool. Actually, that's great. But yeah, that's production, and then you got post production, which is your editing, sorting out kind of like the order of your film, color grading, sound editing, all of that jazz. Yeah.
Okay.
But for the pictures, they wouldn't really ask me on that. It would just be the logistical side. It would just be like, they don't expect you to have a script, but they expect you to have a good idea of what you're really exploring is. So often they kind of say, you've got a film about like the Roman Empire, a soldier going into war in the Roman Empire. But what is it actually about? And it could be actually about his kind of like psychology of leaving his family behind for the sort of greater good of his empire, that kind of thing. Like a way more sort of niche specific emotional part that you can kind of relate to.
No.
That's what they'll ask you about. They'll ask you, how are you going to get there? What is the mood, what's the feel and the tone of the film, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So I wrote a book for my like last project in school.
Yeah.
And I remember like the talkings with the guy that was the teacher that was
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because he used to be a publisher. He used to work for a publisher. So
Publishers are ruthless. It's
The-
really difficult to get
oh
your book
my
published. It's insane.
goodness, like
It's actually nuts.
it was 80 pages. 80 pages. The first go, it took me 10 days because it was a story about a guy traveling to a certain place and basically going to hell and then coming back
Sounds
to
cool.
his normal life. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That was like the basic idea. Took me 10 days to write the first script. took me 8 months
To,
to rewrite every single chapter at least 7 times. At least 7 times. So that the guy would think, okay, this is acceptable. This is like barely like
mandatory
he.
level.
Oh my god! And now when I read the book, I'm like, oh, what the now I understand because I've read many books now and so on.
You kind of get that your writing style, that kind of thing was off.
It's not the writing style. It's not the style. I would say it's not. It's nothing about the style. It's about the
how it flows and how characters are introduced, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So how the actual story goes.
The story beats, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's nothing about the writing. The actual writing, because the writing is basically what adjectives do you use.
Yeah.
Or how do you describe a scene, something happening?
Yeah.
That's style. But the actual storyline is the most difficult thing to do.
Okay.
So after doing the book, he told me that most people that he worked with, he made them do a storyline of scenes. So he did like this Disney type of thing.
Okay.
Where they basically write the idea of each major scene, and then just tie them together with verbs. So he uses images and verbs, and then he just like.
Okay, sounds.
It sounds very
it sounds
understandable, but he didn't say it before I was writing the book. So like when I was writing the book.
Okay, so you have to do it the long way, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's why so many films are based on books, even ones where you'd kind of be like, oh, I would have no idea that would be originally based on like a previous book or a previous script, that kind of thing. But loads of them are genuinely like bloody loads.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, like I know people like my auntie, to be an English teacher, you have to get a book published. Like,
wait, what?
I'm pretty sure if you're gonna teach English at a degree level.
Oh, degree.
Maybe kind of A level, that kind of.
Okay.
Level, you have to have a published book. Don't fact check that, but I'm like 90% certain that's a thing.
Let's fact check that right now.
I could be completely wrong, but I remember for her to be like a full-on teacher and what she wanted to go to, she needed to get something published, and it took her genuinely years.
Ooh. Do have to what is it?
Have
pay council tax. What the what do people search? Yeah. Do English teachers have to
have
a book published? In England. No, English teachers in England do not have to have a book published to teach.
Does it say for specifically what level?
No, they just say that are chosen based on pedagogic skills.
Okay.
Do you have to publish? No, but they do have to. Okay, they do have to like publish something in academia, saying like at least. So they do have to publish something.
Get something published.
Yeah, get something published.
Yeah,
whether it's like
a critique, or like a poem, or something like that. Okay.
And have meet industry standards. I don't. It was a fast read.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I understand. But that kind of thing, you go on to.
Google AI, like it explains in too much detail.
I know. Yeah, you search up like.
I'm like, what?
There'll be like a C more. You just keep on going down.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay, fair enough. And okay, so what happened? So take me through like a Imagine you're a director and you're creating a movie right now. It doesn't have to be like, but just explain the whole process, okay?
Right. Okay.
To me, a simple man who doesn't know anything about film production.
Okay. So it's not always the director that initially has the idea.
Okay.
A lot of the time they're brought on at a lot of like a later stage.
Or a book.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? Wait, a later what?
Yeah. So initially, like often it is, but often it's also like a producer who steps forward and say, "I want to make a film about this. I want to see a film about X subject." So like
Put a subject?
Roman soldier going into battle, right?
Okay, you just literally took whatever. Okay, yeah.
I took what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I
Let's
know.
give the book behind
You
you.
know. Oh, is it
Yeah.
Empire?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's
If
about
that's
the.
about something else.
It's about the UK. Empire.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. England. Well, anyways.
Anyways, so it can be the director, but a lot of the time it's also the producer. And so they have this idea, and you'll need to get a crew together. So, but if you're gonna do it in the industry, you would have to pitch it to people.
Okay, so you get the idea.
You get the idea.
Let's say
You explore that a bit more.
Roman
like,
going
okay,
into battle.
Like, who is this character? Why am I? You would ask fundamental questions about why you would want to make this film in the first place. Why do you want to make this film? What connections do you have to this character?
Okay.
How is it different? How does it fit in a modern context? All this kind of stuff. And so
how does it fit in a modern?
You would be surprised, trust me, because they're going to be like, well, why the would anyone want that? How does it relate to modern audiences? Trust me.
I would say shut the fuck up, man.
Well, you cannot say it. If you say shut the I would love to say that as well, especially if it's something based like historically. But they're wanting you because they, at the end of the day, it's about making money. Most films actually don't make any money at all.
I know.
So if you show up and you're like, I want to make a film on this. Oh yeah, how does it relate to modern audiences? Shut the up. Like, it's just they're just being like, okay, well, no one's gonna go and see it then.
How is it going to sell, basically?
People in the cinema, yeah. And you will have to adapt said idea. Like, you could adapt it so much to the point where you completely change things on its head. To the point where it fits and you have like a concrete, like, yes, we are going to make your pitch.
I feel this is like creating a product. So for me, who doesn't know anything about so when you create, well, it's literally creating the product.
Yeah.
But instead of a product, you have a story to tell.
Yeah. I mean, it works in the exact same way. Like, I mean, like I said, we still pitch them, but it's a different system because we know that our films are going to get made. So there's not really as much of that.
Oh, okay.
But they'll still force us, like in earlier modules the first year, where we could sort of submit what we want to make, and they would say, "Oh yeah, sure, go to that." They would have to make us pitch it afterwards for essentially no reason other than to get used to pitching. Because you apparently have to pitch a lot, like a lot. There will be people who are sit down.
If I was your teacher, like, I would rinse you every time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah.
In a non-sexual way.
Okay. All right. I was not thinking. Okay, you know what? Never mind.
Okay.
But yeah, there'll be, essentially more producers and investors who will be listening to pitches all day.
Yeah.
Like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 5 to 10 minute pitches. You kind of need to stand out and everything.
Oh my god, that's literally a job in all private equity. Right. You've heard about it, yeah?
Yeah.
So all what a senior executive does is just gets pitched the whole day.
Yeah.
And just decides after. Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, okay. I'm getting it.
So there'll be some sort of film meetup, film festival, and you can talk to people there.
And you just talk.
And so let's say, like, they say, yeah, right, you get X amount of money investment. You now have to get together a crew. You would have to do a lot of research. You can't just be like, oh yeah, this person did this and they were good in that. Let's get them over here. If I'm making a film about a Roman soldier set in a historical period, I would specifically go out of my way to look for people who have done historical dramas, period pieces, that kind of thing before. What kind of like style of camera work do I use? You know, what aesthetic am
Why
I going
that
for? What am I
one?
really trying to say with the film? All of this will go into what crew you pick, right?
Mm. Okay, so that's like the foreplay to
Yeah,
the
I mean, obviously, like there's a lot more that goes into it.
like what?
You know, it can be like logistical sides of it. It will be, you know,
How do we get to sites? How do we get the funding?
yeah, like who is going to exhibit our film?
How many times are we going? How many days are it's going to take
Yeah,
to produce the film? Okay, yeah, all of
yeah,
that, all of that,
all of this stuff. Where
all
are
of
we
that.
sourcing equipment from? You know, where are we going to find
Oh,
people?
I actually
to work
know a
for?
guy who owns a business that does that.
Oh, seriously?
He rents cameras and lights for I think for your uni, one of the
For
biggest
Yui.
contractors. Yeah.
Yui owns all of their equipment.
Huh?
Yui owns all of their equipment, all their filmmaking equipment. Yeah,
My bad. Then no.
I believe because it's always there.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, there's like so there's a filmmaking block
Okay.
in which there'll be multiple studios, and there's like it's called Central Loans, and there's just basically a massive room, kind of warehouse looking room, with all of the filmmaking equipment in there.
I think I need a first year student just to like bring a camera to here, and then just like
I mean,
ask it for like to be here for 3 years straight.
3 years, 3 years straight. Honestly, you should, but the thing is that they're super like how do I even say it's like, sorry for the swear, but like anal about what you're allowed to bring out of uni, because it all needs to be risk assessed. It all needs to be like,
Well, it's insured, so.
well, yeah, you need to be like, what are you doing, when are you doing it, all of that kind of stuff. You basically have to do like a mini producing job to even just get the equipment out. And I tried to do that first year because I essentially managed to get like a volunteering gig with like Age UK Gloucestershire for like a commercial kind of thing.
Okay.
And I remember being like, I do not want to do this on my phone, especially if I'm a filmmaking student. I'm going to see if I can get equipment. Emailed a load of people, tried to get out. They were all like, just wait until next year plus. So you'd probably have to get a second or third year, if not somebody else. You would have to hire them, because the uni does not really overly support you bringing out the equipment for your own projects, which is really annoying.
Don't worry, I'm not doing it.
Super
yet.
annoying, because I would have loved to. First year you have loads of time. I think they should just be like, in the periods where you've got second and third years planning and doing post-production, I think equipment should be more or less free game, as long as you do risk assess it like properly.
Yeah.
You explain why you're doing this, what you're learning, or whatever. But yeah, that's just one of the sort of critiques of the course and stuff like that. Yeah, what was I talking about? But yeah, anyways, so
Okay, you do the pre-production basically.
yeah.
Then
So then you've got you want to get a director who's you can talk to and you collaborate with. You'll be on like a similar mind to them. You don't want to have conflicting about ideas about what said film will want to be.
sorry, this is told from the perspective of who? Who are you?
So if I'm the producer and I had the idea for a film, and I've went out and I've pitched the film
Yeah.
to other producers and investors, I've got.
You want to get another producer in?
Well, I mean, no, you want to get a director. You want to make your crew.
Okay.
Because a director is a big part of the style. So like, if I was to get for said Roman film, Quentin Tarantino, that just wouldn't make sense, or it'd be a very fucking weird film, you know.
I mean, it would be nice.
I would watch it, but
I would
can't say
definitely watch it.
it's something that he would be interested in, and it's not
Probably
something
not.
that most people, you know, it's a strange decision. But you know what I'm talking about. You would have to pick a particular director for the job. And so you have your crew together, and now you've got script writers, and the director will also help with that, and the producer, I believe, will also still help with the script writing process.
Yeah.
Which, as you've seen with your book, can take ages.
Oh my god, yes.
And
I mean, I think I should have stayed with that book for like 2 more years. If I would have kept on going for 2 more years, then I would have reached the level of like a very good published book, something like that. I
Right, okay.
actually would enjoy.
Yeah.
You're
enjoy
like
to
I
read
would
first.
pay for it.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, okay.
It's never too late.
Not for now. No, I mean, I think my writing is thing is I'm more methodical now. So,
Okay.
and I know more stuff, and I've for the podcast, for example, I research all the time, like ways of explaining stories, ways of telling stories. So, yeah, you do become better over time, and I've read more books, which helps quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would take at least a year, at least a year, at least a year.
Okay.
But yeah.
But yeah, then you get to the sort of the point where it will kind of have more or less a similar process to what we do at my uni, where there'll be a few people working on the script, and then the sort of director will give out jobs to everyone. They were like, this is what we're planning to achieve. Can you do research around that? What specific, like, they will say to the sound person, are you like equipped to deal with these kind of mics? This is the kind of setup that we're looking for. Are you like competent in actually doing that? You know what I mean? And so everyone will be like sort of given stuff more or less to do pre-production, but it's mainly down to the producer and the director and the like DOP to figure out really what the film mood and tone is going to be like.
Okay.
And so once you got that, it's, you know, you've sourced actors, got locations, all of it needs to be like permitted. So filming in Bristol, you know, like if I was going to make some sort of like historical film about Anglo-Saxons in Bristol, I would have to talk to Bristol Film Office, say, hey, we're going to be filming here at this time with this kind of setup.
Really?
Oh yeah. It depends on the county.
You have to ask
if
for
I'm
permission.
filming in public, I know. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wish I didn't. I wish it was more like you can just show up. It does make sense, trust me. It's the first. So when you first arrive on the course, it's one of the main things that they drill into.
Really?
No filming at all. If you were to go out and you were to film, like, especially if it's like something serious in public without permission, you wouldn't be let like on the course again. They would say absolutely not.
What type of thing would be serious
Well,
in public?
one of the things that they showed us was a production that I can't remember if it was one that they like greenlit or if it was something from another uni around or like film college around the area.
Okay, probably was their own fault. Okay. Yeah.
I think so, probably. Yeah.
Most probably.
Yeah.
If they're telling you that one, it's probably them.
But it involved with like firearms, like a fake gun, that kind of thing.
Oh
So you can imagine. Apparently, there was this one time where these students went out. They were going to record like this, not a shootout, but there was a guy who was supposed to be dead on the floor with blood all on him, and a guy over him with a fake gun. And apparently, there's like a area where the police kind of patrol regardless, anyways.
Oh my god!
Police turn the corner in their car and see this.
After a loud bang, probably. So.
Trouble, like big trouble.
Yeah, like. Okay.
I mean, the uni would have been sued for a lot of money.
Yeah,
obviously.
most probably.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
The guy could have been shot as well.
Yes, that guy definitely could have been shot.
Could have been shot.
Yeah. I mean, that's like an extreme example, right? Like,
but like,
most of the time it's fairly...
I'm sure that happens a lot in America, though.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I heard that. You know, it's like when I do the risk assessment, that kind of thing, there's still like a part of it where it's like, does your film have any sort of like firearms or guns or anything like that in it?
Oh, it checks.
You cannot take yes on that. The uni just won't greenlight it at all.
Really?
I think it like depends on the subject, the manner in which you're doing
machetes
it. But you are not allowed guns at all. No guns. If it was like knives, that kind of thing.
What? Knives? Okay. Machetes? and
It
access?
just depends on one context. Like if you're in the kitchen and you've got a knife, like obviously it's fine. But if it's like in public, especially
A machete.
with a knife or a machete,
Yeah.
then they would just say no.
You just no.
They
Okay.
would just say no.
Okay.
You know.
Sad, but yeah. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
I mean, I would have like if I would have studied like first thing machete, a guy with a machete.
in
Yeah.
public.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Why not?
I
And
mean,
scare just people off.
it does like limit what you can do, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Quite a bit.
it's
Yeah.
just
Of
the
course.
nature of it is kind of fair enough. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, I see. Okay, then you get that, and once you're okay, so you have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You have planned everything. You have got your permissions and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
What's happening next?
Well, I mean, the only thing really to do then is, you know, if you've got all the
Record.
permissions, you've got all the equipment set up, you'd pick up said equipment, you would be filming. Like, it depends on the scale of the production that you're on. So, like, if we were to film on, you know, down some random, if we were to film on this street,
Mm-hmm.
we would, like, if we really wanted to, we could shut off the street for like an hour or so.
Really?
Yeah, like with a few like caveats, like obviously residents, if they need to get into the street, they can,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more like taking off for random people who are just walking past, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously like super high budget films, feature films, will shut off whole super popular streets and get hundreds of extras in, because you can imagine walking down the street seeing like Keanu Reeves and like Quentin Tarantino and then like some huge off camera, you know, you're going to be staring, you're probably going to mess around with it.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to work in, really.
Okay,
It's been done, and it has actually been done well, as in intentionally, on some films I've watched, especially older films where people didn't really have as much of a grasp on like filmmaking. that kind of thing.
Influencers or like figures,
Yeah.
like hyped figures.
Yeah, they would more just sort of like look and say like, what's going on there?
Who the f is that?
As in, oh, that's in a film, let's bomb it, you know, and let's like go in and like, mess up the production and everything like that.
Yeah,
So,
fast.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you would, it's just down to filming really. So
Pranks have just like gone over the roof, man.
pranks.
Pranks is a general thing.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
there's like
Yeah.
sort of like big culture on YouTube a good like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
About pranks, that kind of thing.
Of just like messing around with people
Yeah,
doing
general
normal things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, saying that you're going to put a bomb in a fucking bank and stuff like this. It's like,
I'm not sure if I've seen one of them.
I mean-
I've seen like stuff like blasting music in libraries and that kind of thing.
yeah, but it's like on the same like type of like it's just like dumb things that you're like, why would you ever like, yeah,
It is just sort of like getting yourself in trouble for views.
for no reason,
It's
yeah,
just,
for
yeah.
beyond views, yeah.
Yeah.
Please, guys, if somebody's watching, please don't
Don't
quote
do
me
that.
on that one, okay? Like, do not say that I told you to fucking put a bomb in a fucking bank and then just say it was a prank, okay?
Yeah.
Just in case some idiot is watching.
Clip that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You produced, now post-production, yeah?
Mhm.
And that's where you come in, as in your speciality, sound and all of that shit.
No, I mean,
Yes?
so
No?
for us,
Uh-huh.
my uni, I would be doing stuff all throughout if it's sound. Less
Okay.
so in pre-production, just because it's kind of like,
Getting the stick.
well, yeah, exactly. Like, there's not really as much to
That's
do.
it.
I would just talk to the director. I'd be like, hey, as long as I sort of show up to the group meetings where they talk about this is what the film's about, let's read through the script. What specifically does it involve? You know, what kind of setups do they have?
Mm.
That's all you really kind of, as long as you have like a general idea of what's going to be going on the
Mhm.
day, then that's all you need to do. It's like a few days prior, I might start reading the lines for the specific days I'm going to be shooting on, which would be easier for like recording sound on like a boom pole and that kind of thing. Shooting it, you're crucial throughout that if you're doing sound, obviously. and then post-production, if it's a higher budget film, you would obviously get like a different person to come in and do sound editing. But because we've got smaller crews of around like 10 to 15 people, it would be I would just do the sound editing myself. So yeah, it means like, so for the film that I'm doing sound editing on now, which isn't the one that I'm going to submit for like my assessment of what I've done for this module.
What are you going to submit?
It was probably the one that I produced. It was the sort of, it was
So you choosing what you want to be assessed?
Yeah, well, because at the start of the module, they are just like, get yourself into groups. This is the assessment. This is what you have to do.
Literally, you could have like one teammate, and then that's it.
You can't just have one teammate.
No, I mean, No.
So
okay.
there'll be like, you pitch the films. The way this uni works, you pitch the films.
Okay.
Okay. You then start developing a script from that. Once you've got the green light and all the pictures have been done, you would have some sort of meeting where they go through, this is how it's going to go. After that meeting, maybe people go to the pub, maybe there'll be like an event where they'll like, that is kind of how it was.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I'm dead serious.
Oh,
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, as soon as it gets on, you're like, what am I actually going to do for this module? I need to get myself on a team.
Yeah.
If everybody's going to the pub afterwards, you're obviously going to go to the pub to see if you can get yourself on a film.
Yeah,
like, hey,
makes sense. Yeah.
have you got anyone for this? That kind of thing. And so yeah, that's what I did, and landed like a producing role, and so I was super busy throughout pre-production for that. But yeah, but then for sound, you would then go on doing sound editing, in which you would then talk about, like, you would also get involved with music, that kind of thing. Usually I find that music is made outside, so by someone else, maybe on the music course,
Okay.
or or by somebody who does music on the course, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So that's basically the whole cycle
Pretty much, yeah.
of making a movie.
Yeah.
What do you reckon is like the thing that is most difficult about the whole thing, the whole process? Or I would say the most challenging, because it can be easy, but it's just like challenging to set it up, or like whatever it is.
Most challenging to set up?
Or just difficult in general.
Probably just getting like solid locations and cast for your film.
That actually show up in time.
That are enthusiastic, know the role well, have talked to the director, will be there and will help you out, because you aren't paying them. Like, you can, but it's gonna come out of our own pockets, and we're already paying the uni, so we don't really want to be doing that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like on some, I know some unis, they give you like a set budget for films, but it wouldn't be much. It'd be like a couple £100. But usually you have to source that yourself, which isn't too difficult. You know, you do a little sort of like fundraiser kind of thing. You put some post up online. You know, it's not out of reach or anything.
I gotta say, it wouldn't be very difficult for the uni to.
It wouldn't be, no. They could do that, yeah.
I mean, so I'm just thinking about, like, what if the uni, with the money that you put into the uni, they would like invest it in something, and then just off of the profits.
What do you mean investing?
Like
investing like you do?
Yeah.
Kind of thing?
Just invest in some random thing. And then you got an art department, or like an art budget, so to say.
I seriously doubt they would be allowed. Because, like, I'm not going to call it gambling, because I know it's very strategic, but you can imagine if we give them money and then they lose said money, it's like,
I mean,
bullshit.
Universities do that though.
Do they?
Yeah, they.
I wasn't aware of that. This university doesn't do that because we don't get any budget for this.
It's not necessarily towards you. Is it a private uni? The one that you're in?
Don't believe so.
No? Yes?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay. So basically the whole idea of the loan is to maintain the economy.
Yeah.
That's why the UK and the US
yeah.
are so big on
Mhm.
university loans.
Yeah.
They help grow the economy. Why? Because
Yeah.
the university sell
Mm.
those. Well, I don't know if you do the. I don't know from who you get the loan. I think it's from a loan entity, isn't it? So you get it from a bank, and then you get it with a uni.
No, you wouldn't get it with the uni. I don't think you then have to pay the uni once you've got it. So
Okay, so probably either the uni buys the loan, or they sell the loan, or they just get a little bit of money off of it. Probably a lot of money at once, and then they. What do you reckon they live? I mean, it's not that difficult to maintain a uni once you have like the project said and done, and like professors and like the actual building, because the buildings are all bought already. Like this, like
I mean,
this is a very, very lucrative business.
Yeah.
So what do? They normally overpay people in certain positions, or they just gamble it away, as you say. I mean, invest it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And things like pensions.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it wouldn't be that difficult. Or like, for example, it would be a good idea for like the business department, for the profits of, I don't know, a fund to go to the art thing. So maybe you can do a collaboration with like the business side. So those business students or economic students that want to be, I don't know, day traders or whatever, then set up a fund off of your money, and they don't get paid, they get paid on experience, but you get paid you get a fund.
I mean, there's easier ways to get a fund, but yeah.
But I mean, is to get a regular fund. That's what I think.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
idea.
I like to set up those type of systems. I really love that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
But yeah, well, thank you very much for being here, Aiden. I think this brother. Oh no, the editor just like fucking fell asleep in the chair apparently. So thank you very much for being here, Aiden.
Yeah. Of course.
Guys, thank you very much for listening once again on your weekly podcast. Hopefully, this gave you a little bit of a perspective on what it goes into. What is it that filmmaking is, and how does it go? I think I actually feel I finally understand what happens.
What involves,
what happens like behind closed curtains. Do you say that type of thing?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I guess so. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Please follow us, subscribe, like, and all of that type of things. And see you next week.